Hi guys, I am back. It's been a while. It's been actually a colossal while, seeing as I'm now heading home to Kerry for Christmas. And the last few months have just slipped by. Fundamental things haven't changed though. I'm still in my Eras tour jumper and I'm still sitting on the floor. However, I am sitting on the floor in a new room because I moved. Life over the last few months really sped up. Unexpectedly and expectedly, kind of events combining, I guess, which was a little bit difficult, but still all positive really, I guess. I moved house and I moved back into essentially a Georgian home. If you were watching me, which no one was, when I first moved to Dublin in 2021, I moved into an old Georgian house, and I loved it so much. It was freezing, but I loved it so much. I'm back in Dún Laoghaire, and Dún Laoghaire is just such a happy space for me because it's by the water, and I can get the Dart easily to work and things, and it's all convenient and close. I am back in a Georgian house. This house is better insulated, so thank God. So that was great. This room was not, hopefully I'll remember to include some clips, but this room was not painted or anything when I came in. It was very rough. It used to be I suppose it's been a bedroom for a while, to be fair, but I think it might have been offices at some point. So my dad and I had a great time painting, which was really, really nice, and doing things up, and he stayed with me for 5 days to help me put up blinds and paint and put up light bulbs, everything. And like that time was really nice because a lot of the time we just worked in silence and we just kind of worked in silence, I guess, together and listened to audiobooks, which was really nice. I had barely moved in when I went back to an osteosurgeon for my foot. I don't know if I mentioned this in January, but I have had colossal pain in my right foot for about 4 years. I'm not even sure, it might be longer. I assumed it was something to do with being hypermobile and I tweaked something. I'm not sure at what point in the 4 years I was going to do something about it, but Addison's disease took precedent. But I did actually eventually go about it, and I had my follow-up appointment in September, I think. And essentially I actually had a benign bone tumour that was relatively large, an osteoblastoma, I think, that is benign. I think they're kind of rare, but at the end of the day, not that eventful. But I also tore ligaments surrounding the tumour. That's my understanding. So I had to have surgery. It was a relatively large surgery. I'm sitting on the floor and I'm really conscious that I'm crossing my legs right now. Surgery is now 7 weeks ago. So I spent the last 6 weeks at home in Kerry on a scooter in a cast, unable to move. I worked from home for the last 4 weeks, and then this week I came back up to Dublin to practice walking a bit more. I've been wearing a large boot and things, and I'm starting my physio program and all of that. So it's all positive. But it has been a really busy time. Surgery when you have, I suppose, Addison's disease is a little bit tricky, just given the nature of, I suppose, surgery being a large stress on the body, meaning the body would naturally produce a lot of cortisol to counteract that stress. Obviously having no natural cortisol, or negligent amounts of natural cortisol, is a problem, but I think I'll talk about that at a later stage. I basically just want to say hi because I am about to drive home to Kerry, but first I have to go into town in Dún Laoghaire and do a few bits, like buy a blender. I've broken my third blender, and I don't know if I'm just buying bad quality blenders or if I'm doing this, but either way I need to buy a blender because I subsist on smoothies, and I also need to pick up some like last minute presents and things to bring home, and I also want to pick up some food because in Dún Laoghaire I can walk to the food shop, and I think if I stop anywhere on the road on the way down, people will be doing their big Christmas shops and it'll be scary even trying to get parking. So I'm going to do that, and I just wanted to say hi. But we will probably ultimately, if I do pick up this video, if I remember, pick this up when I am back in Kerry, but I'm glad to be back. Hello again, guys. I am back in Kerry. If you couldn't tell, I tried to include a clip of how wet and miserable it is outside, and I feel like if you know it's that, I'm back in Kerry. Kerry's always wetter than Dublin. But I'm back. Yesterday the drive took me a very long time because I had to stop a lot of times, even for my ankle that's still recovering from surgery and all of that, which I am allowed to drive and all of those things, but I just take a lot of breaks. I take breaks anyway because I get tired. I don't know if you can hear my mom and my sister. Whatever they're laughing at is apparently hilarious. I have no idea. But anyway, I am here. It's a Sunday. I really need to do a few bits today, and realistically I need to be at my desk doing those bits. So I'm going to bring you with me because I need to write. I feel like in the past I've done a lot more mentioning of like PhD work and things, but I actually need to write. And my writing group is meeting this evening at 7:15, I think, and it's now 2:00 and I need to write a chapter for it. I don't need to write this chapter, it's just that I've read the novel that I'm critiquing back and I dislike the pacing I've used, and I think there's a missing chapter in there, but we read one chapter at a time, so I really want to write this chapter and see what they think about the pacing of it and things. I could also go to this and there'd be no pressure on me to read something, but this is good. It gives me the kind of impetus to get going really on it. So I need to write, so I need to sit down, need to be at my desk, my good old desk that my parents built for me in 2014 when I was coming home from my first summer of college, and it was my first summer being too sick to work, and I suppose realistically I was really depressed. I was really depressed, but I really wanted to write a lot, and I came home and there was this writing desk like that my parents had made and painted and designed and things, and I thought that was so lovely. So it was really nice. So I'm going to sit here, I'm going to do that and get going. I also am wearing my boot on my ankle, I'll show you in a minute, and my ankle is really sore. The surgery site is kind of, I suppose, around the curve of the ankle. It's kind of along here, kind of like a little smile, but it's pretty sore now, I think, because I've been on my feet so much. Technically, I don't have to wear the boot around the house, but I feel like I need to keep it really structured today because it feels tired. So that's a little bit sore and bothering me. So it's just kind of humming in the background, like background pain does. But either way, I have writing to do, so I need to get my laptop. I need to do it. And I just need to throw myself into it and just try it, because writing has been relatively difficult for me in the last year, 2 years, with my adrenals, giving out, or I suppose my pituitary giving out, and all of that, and the Addison's diagnosis, and moving back to Dublin, starting a new job, trying to adjust to being on steroids for life, all of those things have been very heavy, I guess. So writing has not felt like something I have had the creative capacity for. So now I've developed this fear when I sit down to write, that I know I've had it before. I know I get through it by writing a lot quickly. Because if I write really quickly, I can't examine it too deeply. So we're gonna do that. So I'm gonna just try and write this chapter quickly, and it'll be what it'll be. So, but first I'm gonna get a coffee. I'm gonna make an iced coffee, I think. And yeah, let's do it. So this is my leg, my boot, and my singular croc. These are my around the house crocs, but this is my boot. This boot and I have a love-hate relationship because for 3 weeks I had to sleep with it on, wrapped in a pillowcase, and I don't like it, but it does the job. So it is what it is, and I'm so glad you guys are getting such a lovely angle of my legs. And you saw my nasty croc, but this is the reality. So I'm kind of walking off beat the whole time, but the surgery was at the start of November, so I'm used to this. Hello. This lighting isn't good. That's fine. I never said I was a professional. I'm just waiting for my MacBook to start up, and I almost feel bad saying it out loud, but my poor little MacBook's just getting a bit old, so it just takes a bit longer. And I have my iPad here where I'm probably going to put on some like Christmas writing music or something, like some kind of like thing to help me focus, if it will. But there's a few things I need to do before I actually use my laptop, and that is fill out my gratitude journal, which I keep calling a gratitude journal. I've kept one since 2016, but it's much more become a place where I make a really quick note about what I did in my day and what I felt about it. And it's usually, I try to make it like one good thing about each day. And like sometimes that's harder than others, but I didn't do it for yesterday. So I want to do that. I also need to catch up on my journal, as in my planner, and things, and just see what was on my to-do list, because I have a lot of life admin stuff to do. I'm gonna not procrastinate writing though and let writing take precedence. And then I need to I have a label maker and I love it. Well, my mom is a label maker. So this is my notebook for writing notes. So I need to actually map this chapter into what I'm thinking more, because I have an idea in my head of where I want it to go, but it never works out that way, especially because the character I'm writing is particularly introspective. So I will think something and then she will do something, and I never really understood authors who said that their characters surprise them and things, because I'm like, you're in charge. No, but sometimes they do, even though I think it's more that probably I tap into a side of myself that I see in this character, and I get more realistic about what I'd actually do, rather than an idealistic literary genius version, because that isn't happening. So I'm just gonna do those things and let it all start up, and let's get going. I have my iced coffee here I made. I try to make a dupe for the iced brown sugar oat shaken espresso in Starbucks, because I love that, but also Starbucks isn't wonderful, and even though I do still have their reusable cup for years, and it's really expensive and all of those things, so I'm trying to make it more for myself. So I made my own brown sugar syrup and things, and making it, and I really like it. So yeah, that actually tastes really strong. I'm not sure what coffee pod I used, but I like it. It's not strong in a bad way. So I'm going to do that, and I'm going to be writing using my, these are the Glide pens. Oh, if I can think of the name and I remember, I'll put them up on the screen. I presume everyone knows them. Or are they're by Pilot. They're the friction ball pens. They're basically to get rid of friction. I have a pretty bad tremor in my hand that I think is getting worse. that's a whole other story. We're not going to talk about it right now. And I've been struggling to hold pens and to like cope. So I am using these pens. So I'm going to see how that goes. If not, I'll type my notes, but I don't love doing that. But I'll just have to do what I have to do. Such is life. Sorry, I forgot I put this snooty on. Yes, I was more dressed earlier and now I'm in an Aristocats snooty. That's very indicative of how writing this chapter is actually going. That I just needed comforting because I feel like it's crap. In this chapter, I am inventing a board game for the chapter. But I can see it so clearly in my head. But this is where I really wish I was also like some kind of artist or like able to draw things in some way or sketch things that made sense, but I can't. So it's just taking a little bit longer than I thought. But yeah, I'm gonna just take my vitamins. Where's my water? I'm just gonna take my vitamins and hope all goes well with this chapter and keep going. I'm really not sure. So that was vitamin E that I take because I have pretty slow healing. I don't know if that's an EDS thing or if that's a me thing, but I know it's a thing with Addison's where your healing can be worse if you've been on steroids like a long time. Although I've healed really well from surgery, but I still take it. But either way, I'm gonna focus and attempt to do this godforsaken chapter.
claims that you had sex with a woman staying in my house. Who told you that? Oh my god! Oh my...
Hello. I don't know if I managed to include clips earlier to show that we did have our writing group. Not everyone was there, so we didn't actually do any critiquing. We caught up and kind of had a pre-Christmas chat and everything. And that was really, really nice. We did that until about 10 p.m. I think, which, you know, we have to meet later because everyone in the group is from America. It's easier to try and meet in my late evening and their early morning. It's kind of the only time that works, and I'm really lucky that they work around me a lot, which is really, really nice. But it is now past midnight. I'm sitting here and I'm just having a cup of tea before bed. It's peppermint tea. My stomach is feeling a little bit strange, and that kind of sometimes helps. I'm not sure if it's a placebo effect. I don't care what effect it is once it works. Yeah, I did get my chapter finished. It's about 3,000 words, and I don't think I like any of them. And I presume that's potentially because I'm just being very harsh about it. So I'm gonna read them tomorrow or in a few days, and usually I hate them less then. It just felt like every sentence was quite hard won. Like it was just really taking time to happen. So yeah, but I am now getting ready for bed. But before I go to bed, I'm going to, you can't see, but I'm on my yoga mat. I'm going to do my strength exercises with my bands. This is a very loose one. I think it's the loosest one I have, and I'm using that for my ankle at the moment to kind of practice flexing and things. And I have the physio tomorrow, so we'll see what progress he thinks has happened. But my ribs have also been pretty caught lately. It's kind of part of, I think, why I find it easier to sit on the floor a lot, is I feel like it's always very hard for me to maintain an integrity in a posture, because I feel very like collapsed into myself. I always have. And the floor feels like it's better for that, whereas a chair, some chairs feel like they are constricting me. But regardless, I'm going to use my tougher band, which is, I don't know if you can tell, that one's a bit tougher, for my ribs, where I just kind of stretch out my ribs and things before going to bed. And I do it throughout the day as well, especially when I'm working from home and I can kind of get up and do whatever. And yeah, today was really nice. Like I liked just having like simple like coffee and writing time, where it's not too complicated, nothing major exists. And I love meeting my writing friends. They are some of the most, I think, unique people I've ever met. And they challenge me, not in the sense that there's ever conflict, but in the sense that they remind me of better ways that I could exist. And I really love that. And they're eternally patient with me. We've been meeting online for the past 4 years, I think. And you know, during that time, they've probably met me during my most vulnerable points, which was post autism and ADHD diagnosis, my failing health with Addison's disease, Addison's diagnosis, Addison's crisis, my various states of chronic pain and things. It's meant I haven't been a very consistent friend to them. And presence, but they have never made me feel less than for that. And I think, I don't know, that's such a tremendous gift. And I just really hope that someday I'm gonna fly to Missouri to meet them in person. If I have the money, I certainly will. So yeah, today was really nice and really rambly, and I appreciate you being here if you enjoyed it. I love that. I appreciate you being here if you enjoyed it. If you didn't, I don't appreciate it. I mean, I appreciate you being here regardless, and if you enjoyed it, let me know in the comments, or subscribe if you want. I'm going to try to be more consistent in the new year, but I think with chronic illness and generally dealing with, I suppose, various states of like sensory overwhelm and things like that or whatever, It's very hard to make promises of consistency, and I think that's the kind of community I'd like to have. More than anything, I think, is the community online where we can all look each other in the eye and acknowledge that actually just because we don't show up all of the time doesn't mean that the love isn't there or the intention to be present isn't there. I think that would be a really nice online space to cultivate. And yeah, I'm really appreciate you being here, and I'm really glad to be back into it and post-surgery and have that behind me and facing into Christmas. So thank you so much for watching, and I'm going to do my stretches, do my resistant band stuff, and have my tea and go to bed. Bye.